Good morning, everyone. It's Weather with Sim again. I hope you guys are all having a great day so far. And in today's video, we're going to be going over a lot of threats for flash flooding with this next storm system. And this system could definitely propose a severe weather threat. I wouldn't be surprised to see that get issued, but the National Weather Service or the Storm Prediction Center said that it's too low to include a 15% chance, so we'll see if anything changes, but I still wouldn't be surprised to see at least a slight risk for severe weather get issued down here into the south area, and we'll talk about that in a second. But as you guys can also see, I did change the map of the excessive rainfall outlook, and this is more of the satellite map instead of the road map. This is more like a satellite map, so if you guys think this is a cool map, let me know down in the comments, and I will keep it when I do the excessive rainfall outlook. And now, if we start taking a look at the excessive rainfall outlook for day 1, as you guys can see, we don't have any threat for flash flooding, but look what happens on day 2. We start to see a big threat for flash flooding across northwest California, and this even heads into a little bit of southwest Oregon, so definitely looking like a pretty big site risk for flash flooding. This includes Eureka, Redding, and even a few other areas too as well. This even includes much of the forests, by the way. So this is mainly forests that are gonna see the threat for flash flooding, but even some of the cities like Redding and Eureka, like I said, could also see some flash flooding too as well. So we'll have to watch very closely. And now for day 3, as you guys can see, we continue to see a threat for flash flooding across northwest California, and this even looks to get a little bit more widespread. This doesn't necessarily head into southwest Oregon, but it definitely still includes Redding, and this even heads all the way down on the coast of San Francisco pretty much, so San Francisco could definitely be one of those areas to see significant flash flooding. And then even back here into a lot of these areas that do have the marginal risk will also have to watch aware and be aware of really just any flash flooding that were to occur. And now, for day 4, as you guys can see, we actually still have a threat for flash flooding across some of these areas, but look at this, guys. We have a slight risk for flash flooding across southern California, mainly around the Los Angeles region, heading all the way down into the San Diego region, and then even over here in the parts of Texas, we actually see another threat for flash flooding across Houston, Texas. So I'm kind of surprised to see both of the slight risks include at least one very populated city, if why not even one of the most populated cities in the United States, and that includes Los Angeles, San Diego, and Houston. So, I mean, definitely looking quite populated in these slight risks. So, if you do live in Houston, Los Angeles, San Diego, or even a lot of these other areas around them, make sure to be on high alert, even if you live in Victoria, College Station, Bryan, and I mean, you should know to be aware of flash flooding, because you can just look at the weather and it will tell you if there is the potential for flash flooding, and sometimes they even issue flood watches. But this will be on day 4, so this won't be till Monday into Tuesday, so you guys don't have to worry about that yet, but you do have to worry about that as we head into Monday, okay? And now on day 5, as you guys can see, we continue to see a threat for flash flooding across mainly Louisiana, but also heading into portions of southern Mississippi and even a little bit of eastern Texas. Definitely looking like an area that could also see flash flooding. It's just that we're heading a little bit far out, so things could change with the threat for flash flooding. We're not really expecting an upgrade or anything with any of these slight risks, but if we do, that will be a little bit crazy. and we'll see about that, but I do not expect an upgrade. And now, if we look at the National Weather Service hazards, these are the warnings, advisories, and as well as watches. And as you guys can see, we got a bunch of winter storm warnings in effect for places like New Jersey, heading into northern Delaware, and then back through parts of Maryland. And we even got some more winter storm warnings in effect for mainly West Virginia. And we even got a winter storm warning heading from Cleveland all the way up into Erie, Pennsylvania, and then even back here in the parts of Indiana around the South Bend region, heading all the way over into Gary and even Michigan City, Indiana. Those areas seem to also be seeing winter storm warnings too as well. And I heard up here in northwest Indiana, this area could see as high as 12 inches of snowfall, and I do assume some of the vent has already been going last night, but I definitely do think we could see some more snowfall, especially because it's still around as of right now. And then around those winter storm warnings, we do have a bunch of winter weather advisories in effect, and we even see some in effect for Iowa and as well as Illinois, but mainly the Ohio Valley heading into the Mid-Atlantic are the areas to see lots of the winter weather advisories. And even up here into the northwest United States, we are really seeing those winter storm warnings ramp up a little bit. I don't know if we're going to see a whole bunch of more winter storm warnings get issued. They should all stay how they are as of right now, but we will still watch very closely for any flash flooding that does occur. And even back in the parts of California, we actually do have a flash flood watch issued by the National Weather Service, and this area actually did see a threat for flash flooding, if why not a couple of threats for flash flooding. So like I said, you don't necessarily need to look at the excessive rainfall outlook. Usually the National Weather Service or even the weather apps tell you if there's going to be the potential for flash flooding. And we even got some dense fog advisories and as well as winter storm watches in effect for places like the California mountains and even some of central California, really seeing those dense fog advisories. And even back down here to the south in places like southern Texas, southern Louisiana, and then back to Florida around the Jacksonville area, we are also seeing some freeze warnings in effect for those areas right there. So definitely looking quite cold across those areas. You guys probably don't really like the cold, by the way, but New Orleans is definitely in for some pretty cold weather for sure. So definitely get ready for some pretty cold weather across New Orleans. And like I said, I don't think you guys like the cold weather, and I don't even think the New Orleans like the cold weather. So I definitely do think that this won't be very fun at all for you guys if you do live in New Orleans. But the people that live in New Orleans probably also don't like the cold weather either. And same goes for parts of southern Texas. They don't usually see that cold either. And now for your travel impacts, it is anywhere from now to January 22. And as you guys can see, not looking very active for the mountains areas because we just have some minor impacts. But it's mainly the California mountains that are seeing the worst of the impacts on this map. Maybe a few extreme impacts, but that will be for the higher elevations and even the higher snowfall totals. And even back here into much of the Ohio Valley, at least the eastern part of the Ohio Valley, really seeing those minor to possibly moderate impacts, especially around the Cleveland area. And we even see an extreme impact across, or a major impact rather, across parts of West Virginia, and even a moderate impact issued for parts of northern Delaware, southern New Jersey, and then back to a little bit of Maryland. So definitely really seeing those moderate and even major impacts ramp up quite a bit. So definitely looking like you guys could be very safe out there. And we even got a major impact in effect for that area that had the winter storm warning issued for just south of Lake Michigan across Gary, Indiana, Michigan City, and possibly East Chicago, but that's more in the minor impact. So yeah, definitely looking quite active for sure across this area right here. So we'll see if we get any more snowfall, or we'll see if it really turns out to be that way. And now if we start taking a look at your radar, radar now. As you guys can see, as we continue to take this far, that system is still hanging around. We're talking maybe a little bit more snowfall for these areas. Then as that finally heads out, we're gonna start to see another system move through. And by the way, this one does seem to be one of the major storms that we have to watch very closely. And as you guys see, it just continues to bring like freezing rain mixed with heavy snowfall in, as well as mixed precipitation. So it's bringing all kinds of things, including some heavy rain, which mainly is staying down here to the south. But places like Illinois, Indiana, and even Ohio really seeing those freezing rainfall totals ramp up quite a bit. And even up here into like the lower Ohio Valley could also really see some of that rainfall too. Not with the system that has already gone through on February 1st, but also going to see another system move through, which could bring a little bit more in the way of rainfall to parts of the Ohio Valley. So definitely looking like another system to watch, and then we're pretty much at the end of it. So we're at least needing to watch two storm systems. The one that I think we need to watch the most is the one with the freezing rain. So that will be this one right here that moves through, because just look at that, guys. Pretty active, guys. Just very active. So we'll have to see about that, and this will occur on January 23. And I think when we were talking about with that next system that's moving through across the Ohio Valley, I didn't mean to say February 1st, I meant to say January 27th, so I do apologize for that. But we don't really need to take a look at anything else anymore. We're going to go ahead and look at your precipitation totals. And as you see, much of this area up here in the northwest United States really seeing anywhere from about an inch to even as much as 4 inches of rainfall. And even back here in the portions of the deep south, we are also really seeing those rainfall totals ramp up quite a bit. And look at that, guys, right by let's say just northeast of Houston. 6 inches of rainfall, guys. Look, even 7 inches right there. Wow, that's a lot of rainfall, guys. And I mean, this area actually really needs the rainfall, guys, especially because they are in an extreme, if why not even a few exceptional droughts, guys. They could use as much as a foot of rain, I guess, but that still wouldn't be fun because that can cause flash flooding. But for how much in a drought they are, they could definitely use as much rain as possible. Not like it's going to cause flash flooding, but like an inch every day would be fantastic. That would probably get rid of the drought in about 2 weeks or so. So we'll see. We'll see if that's going to be the case, but I don't think so. But we'll see about that. And as you can see, much of, let's say, the lower Ohio Valley heading down into the Tennessee valleys, and then back to parts of the plains, we are at least seeing beneficial amounts of around an inch or two. So we'll have to watch for higher rainfall totals across those areas. And if we look at your guys' total snowfall, this heads all the way out to January 25th, and that was the same thing with the precipitation, just in case I forgot. And even a lot of the eastern United States really seeing those snowfall totals ramp up quite a bit. Look at Wisconsin, okay? Look at Wisconsin, seeing 7 inches of snowfall. And on the other hand, it's actually one of those areas to see the most snowfall, so that will also be a problem too. And even back here in the parts of West Virginia, really seeing those snowfall totals ramp up quite a bit, mainly due to the winter storm warnings that are in effect, so we'll have to watch that closely too as well. And now, if we look at your guys' temperatures, okay, we're going to start at the beginning, and we're going to take this forward. And as you guys see, we continue to see Arctic air move in and out across this area. And as you guys see, it will finally start to head out, and then we start to see a warm front move through these areas, which will bring 60s, 70s, why not a couple of 50s. Look at that, almost 60 in eastern Kentucky. So still being a little bit aggressive on Kentucky. I just say that because I'm surprised that Kentucky is seeing up to 60 degrees. Look at that. Even parts of the coast of North Carolina, South Carolina, heading down to Florida are really seeing those warm temperatures for sure. And as we continue to take this forward, we'll start to see a lot more in the way of 50s and even 40s across these areas too as well again. And just continues going on. We don't really see a whole lot of cold air move through, but as you guys can probably see, we got much cold air moving moving down here, and as you see, that cold air just really wants to move through, but it can't because it's warm air keeps wanting to move through too as well, but we'll see about that. But thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. We will keep you guys updated on how these next few storm systems are looking, especially the one that's gonna bring freezing rain, snow, and as well as heavy rain down to the south and even back up towards the Ohio Valley. So we'll watch that system very closely and see if we see any extreme changes with it. But thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll do one tomorrow.